It's Let's Talk Southwest Florida podcast with Mike McMurray and Scott Fischer. We've had a lot of guests in here, and we appreciate all those guests. But I'm really excited about having you in here. You're not only an entrepreneur in the community and outside the community. Incredible journey you've had and success that you've had, and just giving back to the community, everything. I'm a big fan of yours. It's a pleasure to have you in today.
Thank you.
Very much so.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
My memory of Mike McMurray goes back many years to Omni Fitness. And, that was another time I was really busy, really, really busy, and you were really busy. I don't even know what you were doing back then, but we knew each other. We were in boot camps together, and, here we are, many, many years later.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Probably put on a couple pounds since then.
Just a couple.
Lost a few hairs and all that kind of stuff.
I'm fortunate still got my hair.
Yeah. Well, you look the same. We've talked a lot before we've started this podcast, and so much to talk about with you. But I just want to read this. Normally I wouldn't read, but I'm going to, because we're honored to have someone whose entrepreneurial spirit and commitment to giving back have left an incredible mark on Southwest Florida. Scott Fischer. For those who may not know Scott, he is a leader in the motorcycle dealership industry. That's true. Mm-hmm. We know that, but there's a lot more to it too. The founder of Scott Fischer Enterprises and a philanthropist dedicated to enriching our local community. I mean, definitely that. From his Harley Davidson dealership to his countless contributions to charitable causes. I know that. A lot of people know that here in Southwest Florida. And you don't shout it out to the world. You just do it. You've always just done it, whether it's in your business, whether it's being a mentor for people. Scott's impact is felt far and wide across Southwest Florida. We've been friends a long time through many people, like our old dear friend, Paul Sands, who's a dear friend to you, and who you've honor him every year. And we're going to talk about that in one of the questions from the annual Slaw Dog, 28 years now, honoring him and honoring Southwest Florida through him, and giving back to a lot of charities, and keeping those memories alive. And that brings up, I heard this the other day, money, a tool to create memories. And I think that's what life's about. It's not all just about money and you and all that. And I think that's how you've lived your life, creating memories. I think there's going to be a lot of people in this community and people that know you that say, remember when, Scott, because that's what we do with Paul.
Yeah.
And you've kept that going. You've kept that going for 28 years. And someone, all these people that know you and knew Paul, just love that. And you and Lisa Sands, Paul's, other half at the time, have made that happen, along with a lot of other good people, Connie Ramos, all that.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you, Scott. We're going to dive right into some questions. Question number one. You've built an incredible career with Scott Fischer Enterprises, particularly with your Harley Davidson dealerships. Can you share your journey from your first dealership to becoming one of the most recognized names in the motorcycle industry?
Well, I think what's maybe important to share is how the journey actually begun. And the reason why I say that is because I think that, entrepreneurs develop from a young age. I believe that now from my experience. I believe that entrepreneurs really develop from a young age, and it happens in different ways. But for me, I can tell you that I've been a motorsports fan my whole life, riding motorcycles. And that happened because, quite honestly, I share the story, especially when you go into schools with the young kids and stuff, but everyone appreciates the fact that, I came from a family that didn't have a lot of money. My father was an automobile mechanic. He had a place called Fisher's Garage. I remember the name, my last name on the garage, Fisher's Garage. Him and his brother run that business. And I never forget, the real introduction to motorsports was coming downstairs, and he had refurbished a go-kart for us to be able to ride on the streets right there in Columbus, Ohio. And that introduction to to motorcycles or motorsports was what really propelled me to take an interest in competitive racing. So, I spent my whole teenage years racing motorcycles, enduro, motocross, hare scrambles all over the country. My parents took me those places. And, my actual job journey started because I wanted to work in a motorcycle store.
Yeah.
I loved the product, and I started sweeping the floors. I mean, that was my job, going at 14 years old, sweeping the floors.
14 years old.
And I love to share the fact that when we do leadership training today, when you look at John Maxwell, who's it's a great opportunity to learn about leadership, is, he talks about positional leadership is, look, if you get a job anywhere, that's the beginning of leadership, because you got a key to the door. You get to unlock the door. When someone walks in, they get to ask you, where's the restroom, or where's the counter at, or where do I buy something?
Yeah.
That's a leadership role. What moves people up to leadership is when they participate in the work that's happening in the store, that they don't have to be told what to do, and they move up the level of leadership. So I always like to say that whether it's the philanthropic, the charitable things that I've done, it's all been done through an entrepreneurial kind of mindset. Charities and philanthropic work is all business. Where did it begin? It really began at a young age. But my career, the real pinnacle time of my career was when I got the great phone call from a friend of mine who they bought a business in Florida. It was an automotive business. They had this Harley store down in Fort Myers. The car stores were in Tampa and Sarasota. And they said, hey, we bought this car business. We need someone to run a motorcycle store. I was managing a Honda store in Columbus.
How old were you?
I was 27 years old.
Okay.
And quite honestly, as a Honda dealer in Columbus, Ohio, I wouldn't even take a Harley on trade.
Yeah.
And this was a Harley Kawasaki store. And my question was, I got Kawasaki, the worst brand in the industry, which wasn't true, but that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And
you were thinking Yamaha, like that YZ80 and all.
Well, I was thinking, and I've got Harley. I don't want to even take them on trade.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? But my wife and I were really looking for an opportunity to move to better weather.
Yeah.
We lived in Columbus, Ohio. We really
at 27 years old.
Yeah, at 27. So we moved to Fort Myers, Florida. That was the real opportunity, and that was in '87. And Harley had begun to be a greater product in '87. There's a lot that we did with other brands, Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki, and Harley. But the Harley brand is something that a lot of people always say, boy, you're so lucky you have Harley. And I always say, you're right. The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
So work hard, and you won't believe how lucky you get.
That's what I've always said too.
Yeah.
And that's been out there before you and I, but it's one of those famous things. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yep.
So 14 and then 27 coming down here, running that dealership. And then at what time did you own that dealership? How'd that all happen?
Own it in 3 years.
Owned it in 3 years.
Yeah, and quite frankly, that was because of the marketplace got tough.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. I mean, I didn't really understand the Harley business quite as well then as I did, years following that. But I had a great opportunity to bring a couple of partners in that were just strictly financial partners, and we bought that business from the automotive group. And then I bought those partners out in a year. In 1 year after we purchased it, I bought them out.
So that was 90-91, and 90-91 wasn't the best
No,
times.
it was not.
Wasn't the best of times. I don't know what interest rates were like that, but we were coming out of the,
it was tough.
God bless his soul, Jimmy Carter time, all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
But those were tough times.
That's right.
So not easy.
Yep.
So for a young guy like yourself to come into an area like this, and Harley Davidson, and in those times, I mean, we just got past probably around that time, 87, we just paved the road of Daniels.
Yeah.
So you think about that, how far Fort Myers has come. And when you started.
When I moved to Fort Myers, my wife and I, the first time we flew down here commercially, it was nighttime that we arrived in Fort Myers. And when we drove down Daniels Road, there was not lights, and it was a 2-lane road. One of the things to talk about is what's happening in the marketplace today. There's going to be even a more advanced airport coming soon.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Big.
We need it.
big growth here.
Yeah, we need it.
Yeah.
So started that Harley Davidson around that 90, 91 time, and you've grown it. Where did that first Harley Davidson, where was that?
It was on Fowler Street, where Powers Auto Radiator used to be.
I remember Powers.
Little
the
tiny
family
store up there,
Yeah.
the north end of Fowler Street, and over the course of time, the Fort Myers dealership, we had moved it from Fowler Street to across from Hooters on 41.
Yeah.
From that location to Boy Scout Drive, which was the Colonial Garden Center, and then from Colonial Garden Center we moved to right next to Sam's Wholesale Club. We built a new facility at Sam's Wholesale Club and outgrew it.
And Royal Shell's there today.
That's right. That's right. And then we moved to Toys R Us, which they relocated because of the bridge interrupted their access. And then from Toys R Us, we built a new store out on I-75, which was called Six Bends. Now it's called Rockstar Harley Davidson.
And you set the tone for that area, because I don't think Porsche and Audi and all those places that are out there now.
Yeah,
you were the one that was out there first, pretty much.
Yeah, well, the Porsche store and us really came in there together.
Same time.
Yeah,
but to move that store out there and how big it was and the vision of what that whole setup was, you had concerts out there and community events out there, and that was a big venture.
Yeah, it was quite a bit more than we'd anticipated.
Yeah, I remember going to an event out there, the Cattle Barons Ball, I think.
Yeah,
out there.
Cattle Barons Bar.
Yeah, I mean, when you first built that out there, I was like going, that's crazy.
Well, I think we're going to talk a little more about it, but creating place in the market is something I think that entrepreneurs or philanthropists do.
Yeah.
Is try and create opportunity for businesses, for nonprofits to succeed, because that's the resource that a lot of nonprofits need. Is they need partners.
Yeah.
We always talk about it. You have time, treasure, talent. Some people have one. Some people have two. Some people have all of them.
Yeah.
And there was a time where our time, treasure, and talent was provided to the community. All of it was.
Yeah.
And there was a certain amount of people that worked for me that didn't agree with that, because they felt it was a distraction. But for me, I thought it was part of the community and part of what we do as entrepreneurs in a community. When we prosper in a community, you have to support the community and give back to the community. So that was a big part of what we've done everywhere.
Yeah. Although I've known you for some time now. I've always recognized you, even though when you walk into a room, everybody sees Scott Fischer and they know he's in a room, and not that you're that person, but they know that's Scott Fischer. And not to BS you, blow smoke, whatever. But I just think that that's because of everything you've done, but you've also been pretty private. I mean, I've always looked at you as a private guy too. Even though you've done what you've done, you've always struck me as someone that is pretty private too. And like I said, that person that comes in the room, not because you're the loudest voice, right, but someone that just, commands respect and it deserves that, everything. But still also a private guy and listens, and not always talks,
Well, look, the market's changed a lot right now. And, I think when I look back 30 years ago, as we grew our business in Southwest Florida, the connection with the nonprofit, the charitable organizations were probably easier then than they are now, because we were a bigger fish in the city. We were there, meaning we were there for them, and we were involved in a lot of charities.
Yeah. Because
we leveraged our business as part of the mechanism of fundraising, of doing charitable events. And that's where all of our platforms really have come from, is how we've engaged with the community. So today it's a little different. The charities are bigger, the market's bigger. It's not to say that businesses shouldn't still engage with charitable organizations, because they need it. Charitable organizations need desperately businesses to support them. And it doesn't have to be just funding.
Yeah.
You know, they need the bandwidth of people.
Yeah.
You know, in the Harley store, the greatest thing that ever happened in the Harley stores was, first of all, our customer base, you couldn't have asked for a more loyal, dedicated customer base to their community, to the veterans, to everybody.
Yeah.
The customer base, you know, it keeps aging, and people talk about the customer base aging out. But the interesting thing is, people still move into the baby boom age. You know, they still, you know, the 40-year-olds are still moving to the 50-year-olds, and the product still drives the type of customer who is probably more Americana, who's more focused on the community. And so when we engage with that community, when they came to us and wanted to do the bunny run or the you know, all the different events we did over the years, I mean, literally millions of dollars we raised with the Harley stores.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Millions of dollars raised with our customers. If we supported our customers supported us, our employees became part of the team, and we had this powerful engine that, you know, pretty soon every charity in the marketplace would come to us and say, hey, we want to have an event here, we want to have an event there.
Yeah.
We had to work real hard to not take on too much.
Yeah.
Because we still have a business to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, that's great. Recently, you have embarked on a new, exciting venture. This is going to be fun. This is going to be great for Southwest Florida. It just shows you the growth of Southwest Florida. Slipaway Food Truck Park and Marina.
Yeah.
Marina. Pull your boats up. Not a lot of spots like that. We've got a few, but this is right out your back door here in Southwest Florida, Fort Myers, Cape Coral. You don't need to go out to, no offense, Rob Wells, love his place too, but it's just another good one like that that's coming to Southwest Florida that everybody gets to enjoy. Cape Coral's first food truck park and marina set to open in spring 2025. Are we on track?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Could you tell us about this project and what inspired you to create such a unique destination in Southwest Florida?
Well, I would love to have, I would love to have been the one who actually created it and they had the real vision for it, but I'm not. I would tell you that there was a group of people who wanted to do this event, do this venue, who decided to not do it for financial reasons or whatever reasons there was. And fortunately, Jeff Miloff and Gary Abishan,
great
people that are in your industry and the building industry, they had their property was they were reaching a time frame when their model homes were old and they needed to either rebuild new model homes or move from that location. And I got a call from Jeff one morning on Sunday morning and said, hey, look at what's sitting here. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he had the foresight, quite frankly, to say, you know, they had a great idea here and we shouldn't leave it.
Yeah.
What do you think about doing it? So I think when we first started, Mike, to be honest with you, we thought we'd have some food trucks out there and some boat docks and some ropes, but it's turned into much, much more than that.
Yeah.
And I think for the audience out there, what they need to understand is, as a boater, as someone who boats in the marketplace, this is one of the greatest boating areas in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't even realize that, but Southwest Florida clearly is one of the greatest boating areas there is. And that's because you have the outer islands.
Yeah.
And so it gives you the ability to boat all the time. If you're on the East Coast, you can't boat all the time.
Yeah.
Because the winds and the seas are too rough to boat.
Gosh.
So here people can boat all the time. One of the challenges boaters have is there's never been enough places to go.
Yeah.
There's less places to go today because of the weather, the hurricanes that we've had. There are places that you just can't get to any longer.
Yeah.
So we've seen through a lot of growth in the last few years how food trucks have taken on.
Yeah.
It's been a big deal. There's challenges with food trucks. They're challenged with community. They're challenged with resources where they can go. So we look at the fact that let's build out the product. Let's look at what's right and wrong about food trucks and try and improve it.
Yeah.
So I think what's exciting about Slipaway is going to have about 30 boat slips Okay, significant boat slips, the only day boats.
Yeah.
So that means that they're available just like it is out at Cabbage Key. You go there, if there's a slip open, you have access to it. If there's not, you have to wait.
Got to wait in
You know,
line.
Gotta wait in line.
Yeah.
We've done it forever.
Yeah.
We do anticipate we'll have a lot of people that will be here. It'll have a band shell. There'll be music every day,
That's kind of
live music every day, and we'll be closed one day a year, Christmas, and it'll be open from 11 o'clock till 10. Okay, 10 is ordinance for noise, so we'll be closed at 10 o'clock. But there'll be 10 food trucks. Right now, we have about 165 applicants for food trucks.
Gosh.
You know, so we're really being very selective. And when I say very selective, we're putting some strategy in place that's different than most food truck parks. We understand that if you have gone to food truck park, the things that you'll say are tough is waiting in line, is wondering when my food's done. How do I pay for it? We're bringing technology in to allow everybody at a seat to be able to go online and pick the Slipaway website, and then go to each food truck and order your food online and have the food delivered to your spot. Okay, so that you don't have to go through the hassle.
Whether it's on your boat or at your table or at your park bench, whatever it is.
Right. So let's talk about what Slipaway will actually have there. 10 food trucks, Marina, and a ship store, but it'll also have a main pavilion that will have 40 seats around the bar. It'll have 150 seats in sit-down area. A lot of space to really stretch out, to interact. The marina will make a big difference. It'll be a nice boardwalk with seating right at the boardwalk. So it's gonna really be a pretty spectacular place. I mean, we've gone through the building design and stuff, so we see what, it's our vision and our strategy, and we've tried to analyze the pros and cons of these type of environments and find solutions to making it better. I think it'll be great. I'm real hopeful that we'll be open in April. It's a push to be there, but we're pretty close on target. And
but the beauty of that though, Scott, is it? Yeah, it's season time before that and all that up until April, but you've got such a local community of boating. Yeah. That's when the boating really starts for us.
That's right.
That's when you want to go out there.
Yeah. So that's so what a lot of people say. Well, what's the biggest challenge? Well, certainly the biggest challenge we're going to have is traffic.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we're on Cape Coral Parkway. Cape Coral Parkway has got a lot of people. There's a lot.
Everywhere
of people.
does.
Yeah, everywhere does. That's right. So traffic is a problem everywhere during season.
Yeah.
It's going to be a problem for us. But the great thing is that there's a significant majority of people live here year round.
Yeah.
And our park is going to be great through the summertime.
Yeah.
It's going to be great for the boaters. It's going to be great for music. There'll be concerts. There'll be great events that happen there. There'll be car shows. And when I say car shows, not car shows that take up the time of our 11 to 10 hour shifts, but like in the morning, we don't until 10, but we can have a car show there in the morning.
Yeah.
Coffee and cars, whatever it is. There's a lot of things. Fishing tournaments, they all start in the morning. There's a lot of stuff we're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
It's just, be honest with you, my mind never stops going about what's possible. And there's so much possibilities when you build a destination like this. So it's going to be exciting.
There's a couple things I like about that. This conversation about Slipaway is, number one, Southwest Florida, incredible boating here in Southwest Florida. Some of the best in the country, some of the best in Florida, definitely, here in Southwest Florida. And that's what we have to continue to be thankful for and to talk about, even though we've had 4 hurricanes in the last 3 years. Yeah. Sunsets, beaches, our water, our fishing, our waterfront dining now, all those things, golf, pickleball, everything is still here.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah. And that's one of the questions I think that you had asked earlier was, what's different today about Southwest Florida. I think what's really different today is all those things you just talk about. There's a lot more focus on that stuff.
Yeah.
The growth of why you want to live here is getting better and better. There's more athletics. There's more outdoor things. There's more focus from the community to invest in those outdoor functions. And that's probably the biggest, to me, besides the key areas of like the airports, the road systems. I mean, building these airports and building these new intersections at the freeway and stuff, they're a pain in the butt for everyone. But
they're needed.
They're needed, and they're a big part of the growth of our community.
The growth of our community. And Cecil Pendergrass came in here, and Mary Anderson and some others, we talked about that. Yeah. Our leaders out there in the community, as far as our county commissioners and mayors and things like that, they understand that. And I think we've got some good ones there to help with that. Mm-hmm. Someone like Cecil that's been out there forever. He continues, and he doesn't have an end game, really. He doesn't know when he's going to retire. He's having fun still, and he's still got a lot to do for Southwest Florida, like you. Yeah. Like you. And the last thing I took out of that, which I'm really excited about, is that I'm so glad that Gary and Jeff Myloff with Myloff, I'm glad that they're getting out of the real estate business and going into the restaurant business. Because then there's more real estate for me.
Well, he's a lot like you. He's got a great team of people that work for him, and he gives them great opportunity, great education. Look, that's very entrepreneurial. Look, when you can lead people and give people great opportunities. I mean, I know so many people who have gone to work for him that were never realtors. Yeah. And he made it possible for them to become realtors, and they have a new life. Yeah. And Gary, we know, for those who don't know Gary was very involved in the political landscape here. Yeah. He was very impactful, and he still builds an unbelievable product, in home building. And, those guys it's great to have partners like that, because we're all still very engaged in the community, engaged in our business. Yeah, Gary's one of those guys too. He's off the radar kind of. He's always been not on the sidelines, but he's not been out front like on a podium or at that. He just went out there and led and done his thing and built a successful business. Yeah. And then brought Jeff in and created a big business there, and good people and good partners for you and good friends for all of us and good leaders in the community. Yeah, well, let me tell you, Gary has been a blessing for us with Slipaway, because when you build a product that's on the water, that has a bridge next to it, it's got a big road next to it. Not easy. There's a lot of challenges to get through the permitting process. Yeah, government. And Gary understands it very, very well. He understands the people really well. So we're very fortunate that we've had that person on our team. That's about surrounding yourself with smart people, strong people, and that's a good example of how you can succeed when you have the right people with you. That's why I have you in here today, so hopefully I can start hanging out with you a lot more. Your connection to Southwest Florida community is evident not only through your business, but also through your philanthropy. What inspired you to settle here, and how has the community shaped your vision? We've already talked about some of this, but I mean, anything to add on that? Well, I think that, when you say, how's the community shaped my vision? I think that, as I may have stated earlier, I think very fortunate early on, there was such a need for people in the marketplace to get involved in the community. And I think, the comments that you make about, a lot of people know me here. Well, the reason why is because so many of the people that I engaged with early on, their businesses have flourished, or their nonprofits have flourished, or their charitable contributions have flourished. So those people are still engaged in the community. And so I feel as just a part of their support team, I've been able to help shape the community. I've been able to help these things grow. And, it's a little tiny piece, because it takes so many people to change a community. Yeah. But I think that type of thinking is what every entrepreneur in the marketplace should think about. Everybody has that obligation in the marketplace. So I don't know how much I've changed the community, but I know that the community has changed me. It's made me really want to be a part of the community and support it. Yeah. Support it's what I want to do as a family and what I want to do as a business. They're sometimes different, but it's all philanthropic work. Southwest Florida is pretty big in
philanthropic philanthropy.
Very
There's a lot of nonprofits out there, and we're also competing with a next door neighbor in Collier County.
That's right.
And to attract good people to work for your nonprofit, you got to pay them.
That's right.
I mean, because with Valerie's House, every year we start over. We don't get the government money. You know, we're not clinical. We're support. And so every year we got to start all over. And it's been great having your involvement there. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit. It really opened my eye. That Boulder board that you were part of and I got to be part of really started opening my eyes to nonprofit and the people that are involved with them and what they bring every day. And some of them, it's heavy stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they take it home. Then they wake up the next morning and they start all over again. Yeah. And some of these nonprofits, some of these things, some of these organizations and causes that Southwest Florida gives to, and you give to, we all give to, and we advocate for, hopefully, the ones that we really are passionate about. Not that they're all good out there. You know, the big ones are going to get their money and they're great, but these grassroots nonprofits like a Valerie's House and the Dr. Piper Foundation and just the other ones out, the Blessings in a Backpack locally, what you've done for that.
You do really begin to appreciate groups like the Collaboratory, the United Way. You know, these companies are one of their real strategies is ultimately the end result is to take care of the community, but is to kind of pull funders together so that there can be less people asking for money, one person collecting and driving the money to the right places. So it's important, you know. I mean, some people might question those particular type of nonprofit companies, but they're important in the community because there's just so many. Everybody has a passion for certain things, and oftentimes those passions overlap each other, and we're asking the same people for money for the same purpose.
Yeah. I mean, your United Ways and your Harry Chapins, I mean, they do so much. Mm-hmm. And we appreciate them so much too. And then we're very fortunate to have some of the smaller ones, the grassroots ones here that do so much for our community too and have developed here, like a Valerie's House.
That's right.
You know, in Southwest Florida. So you've been involved with numerous local charities and initiatives, including Blessings in a Backpack and Valerie's House and many others. Can you tell us about some of the causes that mean the most to you and why?
I think at the core of it is I always go back to my opportunity happened as a teenager. The opportunity to go to work as a teenager, to get to, you know, to me the greatest way for anybody to learn about discipline and commitment and accountability is in the workplace. Yeah. You know, unfortunately, we as parents don't do quite as good a job. There are some parents that do a good job, you know, but most of us don't do a good job because there are kids, you know, whatever. Yeah. Your friends don't really tell you all the time what you should hear. But in the workplace, you know, you either do a good job or you're out. Yeah. So, you know, to me, the opportunity is that you need to go to work young and learn and learn these things young. So what drives my thinking around nonprofits, my interest is I like youth-focused items. I think education is just an unbelievable opportunity in the marketplace because kids need to use their education to go to work, to get to work. They need to get to work early. And then there's the whole youth element around kids who don't have the ability to go to have a place to live or to eat. You know, so we have to keep a focus on the youth in our marketplace. It's just so important. Yeah. Because it's a tough place today. I mean, kids don't have the kind of leadership that they used to have. Yeah. You know, they just don't. You know, they got these phones. But a lot of their leaders are on their phones. My focus really is really about youth, you know, how to help nonprofits build capacity in their youth. You know, so if I look at Scott Fischer Charities, that's about funding raising money for charities. If I look at our self-directed fund, that's money that we have in a fund that we want to give to charities, and we always focus on capacity building. So if I'm going to give money away, I want you, Mike, to tell me, what do you need money for, and how will that change the capacity of your business? I don't like to just fund because somebody's got a budget of X amount of dollars and we need money. I want to know, what do you need money for? How's it going to be used? And how's it going to increase your capacity?
Yeah.
That's very entrepreneurial. I mean, I can't take it, that's why I said, starting at the beginning as a kid, at 14 years old, you become entrepreneurial when you're working your way through your leadership status or your positional status. Okay. To me, I want to see donors handle their funding the same way. Make nonprofits share with you, what do they need money for, and how's that money going to be directed, and how's it going to grow capacity? Because that's the purpose of it.
Yeah.
So it's so broad when you talk about youth. You talk about kids that have substance abuse. You have kids that need family support. We talk about Valerie's house. I mean, you get into these things, and the downside is you just get sucked in so hard because you see the demand that's needed there.
Yeah.
But I just, you have to narrow your focus somehow. Okay, where am I going to put my energy in philanthropic work? You have to get focused somewhere, because it's too broad to be all over the place. Unless you're a gazillionaire, and you just give your money away. And quite frankly, they do the same thing. They make sure their funding has impact.
I've learned a lot through you, and I know hopefully I get to learn a lot more from you over these years and many more years to come. But my involvement with Valerie's house, and your involvement with so many leadership and mentors, because you can. I'm very surprised not very surprised, but to be able to do what you've done in business, in philanthropy, everything in Southwest Florida and beyond, and to keep that, level-headed and balanced. Because again, once you get involved with nonprofits, if you start giving your time, you're giving your money, but you start giving your time, it can become a job.
Yes, it is a job.
And you've got to learn how to balance that. If you truly want to help these nonprofits, if you truly want to help your community, I'm a realtor. I'm a real estate professional. Hopefully, not hopefully, am, but and a family man, and someone that is dedicated in advocating for Valerie's house. But I advocate for other nonprofits too. But my heart's with Valerie's house. But you got to balance that. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to you about that. I've talked to other people about that too. And I think that's where I'm at in my life right now, learning more about that, to be able to continue to give my time, my energy, but also take care of my business and family too at the same time. It's not easy.
Right.
And you've been doing it for a lot of years.
Yeah. Well, part of the one of the questions always is what recommendation do you have for leadership or growth or success in the marketplace? And the one thing that is so critical is to surround yourself with smart people.
Yeah.
I mean, people who are committed to your purpose.
Yeah.
And you can never do it on your own. I mean, it takes a lot of people to accomplish the things you do. Look, everything I'm involved in, whether it's Valerie's house, Lessons in the Backpack, any of the other nonprofit stuff, long-term junior achievement, everything I've done in some way, I've leveraged the people around me to help me successfully support those programs.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line, could never do it on my own. So what do we get out of that? I can tell you, looking back on what I have learned, we get out of that is we actually give in our Harley stores, the work we did in nonprofit, our employees really felt rewarded to be doing that work for the community. They have time, treasure, and talent. It always comes back to three things. You either have the time, you have the treasure, you have the talent. If I give them the opportunity to share their talent and their time and work, they're hugely rewarded. So I'm not just supporting the nonprofit, I'm also supporting my staff to help grow them as well.
Yeah.
So it's important. I think that, like yourself, you are involved in those things. Make sure your staff gets as involved in them as possible. And not everyone wants to,
Yeah.
but surprisingly, most do.
I think that too. That's what I've really kind of promoted in our team here at McMurray Members of Rural Shell is right now I've been doing that for 8 years now at Valerie's house, and we've got some young guys on our team, and I do promote to them. I hope you find something like I've found and giving back to the community. It's not just about making money.
All right.
It's about giving back to the community and being part of the community and advocating those things for those things that you're passionate about, that Southwest Florida needs.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be, find it from here. Find it from here.
Yeah. What a lot of great leaders or staff or whatever it might be, when you talk about you hope you find something. I think individuals like that need to realize that when one of the things that you can provide when you get into a nonprofit is that as a volunteer, you're bringing your talent to the table. Okay, so you don't need to get in and do the work.
Yeah,
you need to help them be strategically better than they are.
Yeah,
they need that help. Most people like that don't have that kind of. They don't understand strategy and strategic, work environments, and they need that. So that's what we can bring to the table to help them grow, help them understand what's the resource you really need. So get them really focused on their growth, building capacity. It's always about building capacity. What's holding us back from building capacity? And you'll be surprised when you sit in front of a group of nonprofits, of people who work in them, what comes out of a question like that.
Yeah.
What's holding us back?
Yeah.
And then helping them find solutions to fix them.
Yeah. That vocational, I think that's big for Southwest Florida.
Yeah. Well, Mike, first of all, I would just tell you that having a session like this with Catherine Kelly would be unbelievable, because
I've already called her.
Because what she's done with the Heights.
Yeah.
And with that community, it's beyond. I could never share what it is. You have to have her share what it is. It's unbelievable. But the Heights Foundation has built a school. They've built these community centers. They've changed the that area of Fort Myers was an area that 30 years ago you wouldn't even drive through.
Yeah.
It was sketchy.
Yeah.
It's not any longer.
No.
And it used to be only, I don't know, she'll share it with you, but 10 or 15% or something like that kids graduated from high school. Yeah. Now 80% do.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just done a tremendous. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But I love what they're doing. Okay. Yeah. They've decided what's next. And there's a whole reason for what's next, and I'll let her share that. But they've seen that building a vocational school is important. Now, this is going to be a school. It's going to have state funding. I mean, it's a major production that's happening, and it's going to give the ability to have automotive vocational training, marine vocational training. They've done their homework in the medical side, what medical is needed there. So that's coming. That is not a thought any longer.
That's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's a done deal, and I'm excited to learn a lot about it, and I'm excited to help support it as much as I can. And they got a big team and a lot of players in it.
These are the things that make Southwest Florida great.
Right.
Yep. It's not make America great again. It's make Southwest Florida great.
That's right.
And we've already made it great. We're going to make it that much better, especially with everything we've gone through over the last 4 years. I love that. Hope to have her on the podcast. But just helping that. And the other thing that does, that vocational school does, I believe, all these nonprofits that are out there like PACE, like the Valerie's House, not the Valerie's House, but Valerie's House. It helps those kids that are going through those. That's where that connection between all those different nonprofits work together. And there's kids in Valerie's House that are trying to figure things out in their life. Yeah. It's not just about the grief that they just lost their mother, their father, both, their grandfather, whatever it might be. It's about, what am I going to do?
Right.
And they're the challenging times, and there's other things that go on in that household too, besides the grief, that can make them go right or make them go left. And we've got a place coming here in Southwest Florida in the vocational
Yeah.
with the Heights Foundation
Yeah.
that's going to help those kids along
Right.
with the Valerie's houses
Yeah.
and the Paces
Yeah.
and all the different ones.
It's so important, to go back to the whole junior achievement. Junior achievement's one of my favorite, you know, philanthropic focuses. I mean, I was on the board. I was a laureate with junior achievement. I was on the board for many years. I was the president of the board, and it's just so important that kids begin to think like this early in life, and I love that product because it's a difficult product to raise money for, but it's a real necessary product to raise money for because let's get kids focused on their financial literacy, their work and career readiness young, and we won't need as much charity.
Yeah.
I mean, if kids get to work and understand things, they can make a living. They can buy their food. They don't go starving on the weekends. So it's just tough. But anyhow, those are targets for me. Meaning that's what I really like.
That's another grassroots nonprofit. Another grassroots nonprofit is the Heights Foundation.
Yep.
So like your Valerie's houses and
Right.
and some of these other ones. I mean, we need all of those.
Right.
But we need that.
Right.
We need what's going on at the Heights Foundation, the vocational.
Yeah. So the Heights Foundation is going to be. I mean, that program. It's going to be an incredible program.
Yeah.
So I mean, Catherine can tell you a lot more about the specifics of what's happening and what the results will be. But it's just going to be. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Really, really needed. And there's other programs like that in the marketplace.
Yeah.
But this is just a big growth opportunity for it.
Incredible to have leaders like yourself involved with that, and a lot of other people too. Joe Caddy, Fine Mart Bank, and Brian Rist.
Yeah, he's.
Do you know him?
Guy. Very well.
He's a great man.
Yeah,
and he's very devoted to the education and FGCU and I'm sure Heights.
Yeah.
So that's great. Let's go on to the next question. We already talked about the Slaw Dog. Can you share what inspired this golf tournament? I know its impact on the community and how it helps fundraise for local organizations.
The Slaw Dog is it's just a great program. 28 years. I mean,
It's a golf event.
Think about it, 28 years.
28 years.
So I would tell you that 28 years ago, or really longer than that, probably 29 or 30 years ago, Paul Sands, a great friend of ours, who has since passed away, but he was a rainmaker in this marketplace. He was a commercial realtor.
Big commercial realtor. Everybody loved.
One guy that knew everybody in the marketplace. He was an unbelievable. I was very fortunate to become friends with him. We sat on the porch one day after playing golf, and he says, "Hey, we should get it was right before Christmas. He said, we should get our buddies together for a little golf out and celebrate our success and everything else, whatever it was." And we did that, and we had a couple foursomes. And the following year, we probably had 3 or 4 foursomes. And then we said, we should probably put this together as an event and invite some people to it. And the first year, Mike, I bet you we probably had 15 foursomes, and that event we took the money down to the Gabriel's house after we charged everyone to play. We had Slaw Dogs, so it's called the Slaw Dog Invitational, Paul Sands Slaw Dog Invitational. And the reason why it's called the Slaw Dog is because Paul was from Virginia, and for whatever reason, he loved a slaw dog.
Slaw Dog.
And it came from Virginia. I always said it was a Carolina Slaw Dog, but he said it was a Virginia Slaw Dog.
Yeah.
But whatever, I wasn't going to argue with
Because
him.
his is with a hot dog. I always say it was Slaw Dog with a brat.
Right. It is a hot dog. But, to this day, we still have Slaw Dog dinner at the event. It always happens just before Christmas. And I will tell you what's unbelievable is to stand there at sign up and watch not only people who are with us 30 years ago still playing in the Slaw Dog today, but generations beyond them. Their kids are now playing in it. And, we raise anywhere, we've raised, I think, about $700,000 or $800,000 in the Slaw Dog.
That's amazing.
Over the years. So today, Slaw Dog supports, it funds Valerie's House, Blessings in a Backpack, and the Reese Scholarship Fund. Everyone always says, Reese Scholarship Fund, what's that? Well, I'll tell you, Paul Sands was a realtor. He was very connected to the college. the college started a real estate education program, and he wanted to fund scholarship opportunities for it. Kids to be able to get into that class.
Is that FSW, FGCU?
FGCU.
Okay.
And we have been funding that for many, many years
Yeah.
now. And I don't know how many it'll happen this year, but it's a dozen scholarships every year.
That's great.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand the people that are connected to it, but Southwest Florida community that here, Slaw Dog, they don't know what that means, but you give back a lot through that.
Right.
So your money's going through. Is it just the people that are given to that? No, you've got sponsors too that are given to that.
Yeah, but most of the sponsors are connected. So there are sponsors that sponsor the bar, the dinner.
I do the Bloody Mary bar.
The Bloody Mary bar.
You got me forever.
That's right. They've done them forever.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who Paul Sands did business with 30 years ago that still to this day sponsor that event.
Yeah.
They stay focused on it every year. And so,
Thanks for keeping that up, because that's not easy to do.
well, I couldn't do it, quite frankly, if Lisa hadn't really jumped in. After Paul had passed away, Lisa really jumped in.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, Paul was the rainmaker. He was the guy who went out there and chased people for money.
Yeah.
I had a team that helped administrate it. I still have a team that helps administrate it. Lisa still is very involved in that aspect and chasing people for money.
Yeah.
Okay. So we couldn't do it without having resources. I've always leveraged the people that work for me to help make these things happen.
Yeah.
Because I can be involved in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's because we have that good team of people.
I know we appreciate it because you've highlighted Valerie's house.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. Not everybody knows about all these nonprofits or these organizations that you're given to, just like the scholarships we talked about towards real estate and all that towards FGCU. Not a lot of people understand that.
Right.
So Southwest Florida, hope you understand it now. Slaw Dog going on 29.
Yeah.
And more years to come.
Right.
So let's go to the next question. We got quite a few of them. You turn me off anytime you want. Motorcycles often symbolize freedom and adventure. How do you see your work with Harley Davidson aligning with Southwest Florida lifestyle, and how have you worked to build community through your dealerships? We've talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, we talked a lot about just recapping what that is. It's a big community. I mean, the motorcycle community, especially the Harley Davidson community. First of all, the demographic of Harley. You have veterans, you've got blue collar age group people. Okay, you got very Americana people, and then quite frankly, you have people who have the money to buy motorcycles and they find it to be a great sport. I mean, there's a lot of husband and wives that start out, together on a motorcycle, and then they split up and they both have motorcycles. But that group of people are looking to engage in activities. And all the activities that happen here with Harley, we've been able to leverage our customers and go support these events. Whether it's veterans, whether it's military, whether it's the Bikers for Babies was an event we started. Bikers for Babies. It was a run from Naples to Fort Myers, and we raised over $1 million in Bikers for Babies. We'd have 1,000 bikes. We'd have the sheriff's department would lead the whole event. It was a ride. I mean, it shut down the city. We had complaints from people that the roads are blocked off for all these motorcycles going down the road. But these guys all spent a lot of money to participate in that event, and we would literally raise millions of dollars. So how do you for me, again, you've heard me say it, I leverage the people around me to achieve the results that the community needs. I leverage the people around me to be involved in the things that the community needs. So for businesses, everybody can do that. Every business can leverage their customer base in some way.
You just described Southwest Florida, though. Veterans, huge veteran population.
Yep.
Blue collar.
Yep.
Fort Myers is still a blue collar town.
Right.
But we're also second homeowners. There is money here, people that give back in our community, all that.
Yep.
Young. It's not just retirement.
Right.
I think that's what makes Lee County, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, these areas that are attached to so special. I mean, yeah, you got your Sarasotas, you got your you're in Naples, beautiful communities. But Fort Myers, I think, it's bright.
Yeah.
We got a big future ahead of us, positive direction, and great community to live in.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you with that. You served on local boards, supported initiatives impacting areas like education, veteran services, and more. What are some of the most significant shifts you've seen, and what excites you about the future of this region?
Well, there's just so much changed.
We talked about roads, all that kind of stuff.
But that is what's really changing here. The education has grown dramatically here. I hope that the education in our elementary schools and junior schools and high schools can continue to grow. Okay, I think it needs to grow. I think everywhere in the country we need better education.
Yeah.
But we have seen a really great growth in college education here in the marketplace. But I think when you look at things like the infrastructure that's going to happen with the airport, the intersections at the highways now that are changing. Look, we've got this growth. Everyone wants to live here, and the market's not can't support it. So there's a lot of focus right now on that. So I think that's the biggest changes that you see here, and it just hasn't happened quick enough.
Yeah.
And I think that we love the season here, but it can be one of the more frustrating times of the year because the traffic is so intense.
Yeah.
That time of year. And the summertime, if you've been here a long time, summertime is a time where, boy, you really want to get out of here.
Yeah.
But it's one of the greatest times to be here,
especially
because
boating.
The boating is great, the roads are great, there's everything you want to do is still available here. It's just hot.
Yeah.
I think Southwest Florida, just the growth is unbelievable, and people want to live here because of the weather. They want to live here because it's the state of Florida.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of money being piled in here. The hurricanes that we've had over the last few years, it's terrible what it's done, how it's misplaced so many people, and it's driven some people out of the marketplace.
Yeah.
And there's areas, Sanibel, Fort Myers Beach, that are still recovering. There's long ways from recovery, but there's a lot of money coming in.
A lot of money coming in, and when every year it's just going to get better in those areas that have been affected greatly and all over.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but Fort Myers was rated one of the top destinations as far as to buy in and live and all that in the country.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, with everything we've gone through. So we've still got all what you come here to enjoy. Everything's still here. Let's see. Leadership and innovation have been a key to your success. What advice would you offer to aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners here in Southwest Florida? Not just new and up and coming, but even people like me.
Yeah.
I
always say the same thing. There's the two really key things is surround yourself with smart people.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? A lot of people say, what does that mean? Build a great, I talk about surround yourself with smart people, build a great leadership team. Okay. So leadership team doesn't have to be the people that are on your payroll. I always say, most leaders who are now looking for that next level have had some level of success. That's why they're willing to invest in it. Well, our accountants, our attorneys, our estate planners, all these people that we pay money to, they're part of our team.
Yeah.
I have successfully said, look, if you want to be part of my team, I need you to be part of my strategic planning as well. So I organize meetings with all of them together. I share what I've done over the last year, what I'm doing, what happened last year, what's happening right now, where am I going? And I get impact from these great people.
Yeah.
They're not in my business, but they're people who are successful. And, that's really about building that leadership team around you. It's not just the people with you. We spend a lot of money with professional advisors.
Mm-hmm.
Why shouldn't they be part of our team?
Yeah.
They shouldn't just be, at accounting time, at tax time, or a legal time.
Yeah.
They should be part of this, helping us understand the strategy.
Yeah.
Why? Well, first of all, they've got knowledge, but secondly, it helps them understand who we are better.
Yeah.
They're able to do a better job with us. So surround yourself with smart people, be a student of the business. So, to me, I reread books that I read 20 years ago because I want to be a student of the business, because so much of what I've learned long ago is still very, very relevant today.
Yeah.
It's no different, and so be a student of the business. And, it starts from, when kids go to school early and go to work early in school, always be one to ask more questions,
Yeah.
learn about, be a student all the time. You're in the real estate business, it's a never ending, I'm sure, evolving business still today.
Yeah.
It's just changing. Digital technology is changing
Yeah.
everything. Everything's changing. People work from home. How do we deal with that? I mean, that's an issue right now.
Yeah.
How do we deal with the change that digital has done to our business?
Yeah.
Okay. Certainly it's been good,
Yeah.
but it's also impacted other areas of it.
Yeah.
So learning, diving in and understanding what other people are doing is really important. Being a student of the business, learning about your business all the time. Too many people take for granted that, they know their business, but the business is still evolving.
What do you think about the term balance? What's balance?
I think balance is happiness. I think when you're out of balance, you're not happy.
Yeah.
So, I think if your life is, I think when you're struggling, you're out of balance, you're being pulled, the directions you're being pulled in maybe don't have balance. Look, it's difficult, I'm sure, for you when you begin to spend time in some kind of nonprofit way, and that there's things that need attention in your business, and that creates imbalance.
Because you're pulled.
That makes you irritable. It makes you maybe less approachable. Everything about it. So
Yeah.
So I think balance is trying to figure out. Like I'm doing that right now. I'm eliminating some things because we got big Slipaway coming on. We've got another whole business that we're in right now that we haven't talked about, but it's a big investment, and so I'm trying to get rid of some things. So some examples are acquisition wise, we're not chasing new business. We're taking our philanthropic work, and right now we've got our Scott Fischer charities, and we got our self-directed fund, and we got our family foundation, which is new. And the whole purpose of the family foundation is to kind of shift all that other philanthropic stuff into the family foundation, and not have as much hands-on work and more funding, more money going into the foundation, more funding and less hands-on work. I mean, hands-on work takes a big commitment.
Oh yeah.
And look, we all reach a time frame where we don't want all of our time. We begin to see that we want to spend some time on some of that stuff that we've worked hard to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Goals for 2025. People always say, what's your goals for 2025? I mean, do you really have goals that you've always done every year for your business, for yourself personally, or, you're just focused on what you're doing, that the goals kind of just evolve, or what? What do you think about when someone talks about the term goals?
Yeah.
And people always ask me, Mike, what's your goal for real estate this year? And I never say, I've never had goals of, I want to sell X or I want to do this many transactions. I've never done that.
Right.
Yeah.
But
what do you think about that?
I think our businesses individually,
Yeah.
there are goals we set for our salespeople.
Yeah.
There are goals we set for those are goals. They can all be consolidated into a company goal.
Yeah.
Which I think different people look at it differently. It's certainly in our business. Our planning process is all built around data.
Yeah.
Everything's built around data. How many people can we talk to a day? How many can we move to the next process? How many bikes can we service a day? All those things. So, but from a goal standpoint, for me personally, is I just always look at what do I got going on right now, and let's just reshape what I got going on and get better focused on it. And can we get rid of things? Can we minimize stuff? Can we get better focused on things? What do we want to keep in the we get involved in things all year long. And at the end of the year, if I'm going to talk about goal setting, I want to talk about how many things do I really want to be involved in, and what do we want to let go of? Because you can't be all things to everybody.
You can't.
So goal setting to me is just making it possible for me to be successful in the things that I'm going to be involved in, and that it's going to be possible to have great results in it.
Last question.
Yep.
And I know this is probably easy, and I hope, I want to hear, I know some of this, but some of the things that people might not know about Scott Fischer. And what are some of your hobbies and your interests and favorite ways to enjoy Southwest Florida and just life in general?
Yeah. Well,
I know you like to golf.
Yeah. I mean, I love to golf, but golf is not an absolute priority. I've been a member at Cypress Lake for, I think almost 30 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I used to live on the golf course there. I've been on the board at Cypress Lake for, I think, 14 years. I've been a president. I've been a president for, I think, 12.
Yeah.
I'm not now. You asked me what my hobbies are. Being on the board there and transitioning Cypress Lake from a country club to a golf club, because it's really what it is. It's not a country club. Country clubs are in communities now that everybody in the community is a member of.
Yeah.
That's a country club.
Yeah.
This is a golf club.
Yeah.
We got the best golf course in all of Southwest Florida right now. But it's a hobby of mine to be involved in the leadership of transitioning that. It might sound like business, but I love that place. I like the idea that it where it was and where it's at now just drives. It sounds like work, but it's a hobby. I don't get paid to do it, but I like it and I want to keep it going. But I boat. I've been a boater forever. I've had big boats and I've had little boats, and I've got a 39 Nortec now.
You've had fast boats.
Fast boats. I love to boat. I have some of my other interests really pull me away from Southwest Florida. I love to ride. I've totally been consumed now with e-bikes, e-bicycles. So e-bike, road bike, e-bike, mountain bike. Look, as you get older, you can't do the kind of riding that you did when you were younger, especially off-road and especially in the mountains. So, I've got a place in North Carolina that, quite frankly, the motorcycles got me there. I'm there because we'd go there every twice or three times a year to ride motorcycles in the mountains. And then I bought a cabin. Now I bought a cottage there. And now I go up there and I ride. I don't ride my motorcycle as much. I still ride motorcycle up there, but I ride a e-bike on the road all over the mountains there. And
see, I see what's coming now. I mean, we had Harley Davidson. Now we're having a e-bike, store.
Yeah, no.
Look for that.
Yes, what people may not know. I mean, honestly, I'm not a real private person. I mean, meaning I'm out. I engage with people everywhere. I think maybe one of the unique things is that I've, like other people, I've had a lot of medical issues, and they haven't been the kind of medical issues that people usually talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of people have internal medical issues. I've had joints from riding motorcycle stuff that go away.
Yeah.
I got 5 replacement joints, and I'm going to have a 6th one soon. And but you know what? You got to keep on going.
Yeah, it doesn't stop you.
People say, well, why do you have it done? You have it done for one reason. People are in pain with their knees and their hips, and they don't get it fixed.
Yeah.
And their quality of life drops to nothing.
Yeah.
I get it fixed, my quality of life goes up.
Yeah.
I still do everything I used to do. I still go work out. I still ride a motorcycle.
Starts with you first. It's been a pleasure having you in.
Great.
You're a great man, and appreciate what you've done for Southwest Florida in business. Much more success for you and enjoyment in life. Like I said when we first started, remember when? A lot of people are always going to say that about you. When you're here and when one day we're not.
Right.
Everybody will always remember the impact of what Scott Fischer has made in Southwest Florida community, but also in friendships and in business.
Yeah.
I truly believe that about you.
Well, it's great. You're leading much of that now, and we've talked about a lot of people who lead that, still leading that in the marketplace. It just takes a lot of people.
Yeah.
It just does. I'm just glad to have moved to Florida, in '87. Fort Myers gave me the opportunity that I have today. I mean, truly, Fort Myers really did give me that opportunity. That's why I firmly believe you give back the community you prosper in. If you prosper in a community, you owe it to the community, And more entrepreneurs need to take that role on because nonprofit charity funding is important, and everyone needs to participate in it.
Yeah.
We spend the money, all the time, and that's not our time.
Yeah.
That's just our time, talent, and cash.
Yeah. Treasure.
Treasure.